don't tangle and twist it. In the club every night, drunk, drinking that crystal. Niggas mad, don't like it cause I'm banging they bitches. When the light hit the ice, it twinkle and glisten. Baby, why be bubble? You could call me with your feel. Hopping out the platinum hummer with the platinum grill. With the platinum pieces and the platinum chain. With the platinum watch and the platinum ring.
All right, fam. All right, fam. The Vegas Eagles back. Calling this episode the partial resurrection of the season. Um, listen, I'm feeling really damn good right now. It was an almost perfect day, but it wasn't perfect because the racists did win against the 49ers. But we're going to get to all the details in a moment. And the updated truth board, again, the most important part of all this. Um, but let's just tackle the Eagles Saints game. 7.5 point dogs, and we win outright. That's what I'm talking about. And again, we needed a W to change and shift the momentum, and we got it today with a big, big, big defensive effort. And Jalen Hurts was great. I mean, was he perfect? No, but he was an amazing, amazing shock to the system. He had over 100 yards rushing. He was decisive. He quick decisions, and he had no turnovers minus the fumble at the end. But I honestly can't blame him for that. That's on Doug Peterson. I have no idea why he was running the ball with the quarterback at that point when we had a 10-point lead. It was total nonsense. That was just horrible coaching by Doug Peterson. So I'm not putting that fumble on Jalen Hurts at all in that situation. But I mean, I guess some highlights in the game. I mean, the defense really balled out today, and hats off to Josh Sweat, who I think made the play of the game when he stripped Taysom Hill on that fourth down play. Because the Saints at that point, it was 17-14 Birds, and the Saints were driving in Eagles territory. And you really felt at that point that the Saints had all the momentum, and then the Eagles stopped them right there. So that really was huge. And I guess beyond that, I mean, it really was a great performance all around. Jalen Rager made a big play. Now the injuries, I think, were still really concerning. It looks like Roddy McLeod may have torn his ACL, but it's not confirmed or anything yet, so we don't know that for sure. But that would be obviously a big loss in the secondary. Darius Slay went out with a concussion, it looks like, and Avonte Maddox, I don't know on his injury, but we're getting really, really, really thin in the secondary. So, and then Jake Elliott was the one that we got to talk about. Um, I think we got to cut him in the offseason. I think you cannot miss a 22-yard field goal in the NFL. Just can't do it ever. You miss a 22-yard field goal in the NFL, I don't I don't know what you do with him. Um, and then that's on top of the fact that he's been horrible all year. So I obviously got to keep him for this year, but Jake Elliott's got to move on. After this season because it's just unacceptable. I mean, he was so good the year of the Super Bowl and the year after, but he's trailed off for whatever reason, and he's just not the same guy. Um, so okay, this the truth board's here for a purpose, and in the end, even though my predictions for the season went totally off the reservation, what did I say a few weeks ago? I said that the season may come down to this game against the Arizona Cardinals. And while I wouldn't say it totally comes down to it, it's now the biggest game of the year. Now, I had said back before we played the Browns, I said we just got to win one of the next five, and then we beat Dallas and the racists. We'd get to 6-9-1, and we'd win the division. Well, it almost was coming to pass exactly like that until the Giants won in Seattle and the racists won in Pittsburgh. That really threw a monkey wrench into my calculations. But it still may hold. So let's explain how it still holds. So the Eagles got their one win out of that five with one to go. But I had said if we just win one, so we're going to play the scenario out if we lose to Arizona. So okay, let's assume we lose to the Cardinals. So that would drop us to 4-9-1. Again, we'd have to win our last two to get to 6-9-1, which is what I was saying for weeks now. So if we lose, what do we need to have happen? Well, the Cowboys won today; they're 4-9, but that doesn't really matter because as long as we beat them in 2 weeks, they will have their 10th loss. If we're 6-9-1, we pass them. It's no big deal. So we control everything with Dallas. What they do doesn't really matter as long as we beat them. So let's go to the racists. Now they won in a really ugly game in Arizona against the 49ers today. Nick basically because Nick Mullins is horrible. He literally cost them 14 points on his own, and that was the difference in the game. So they're 6-7. So what has to happen now? Well, they have to lose to the Eagles in their last game. They would have to basically lose all the remaining games. So they play Seattle at home next week. We'd like to think the Seattle would go in there and beat them. Alex Smith's banged up a little bit with his calf, so it looks like it might be Dwayne Haskins. And even if it is Alex Smith, I'm not sure he's going to be even close to 100%. So you got to think Seattle can go in there and beat them in DC next weekend. Although I know I relied on Seattle to beat the Giants at home, but they look to be back on path. They obliterated the Jets, the worst team in the league today. So hopefully it gets them back on the right path. And they're a great road team, so I do like their chances to go into DC and beat the racists. But the problem is this next game in 2 weeks when they play Carolina. That's in DC. What is Carolina playing for? I mean, they're not horrible, but they're not anything special, and they may be tanking. You don't know what situation they're going to be. I believe they're 4-9 now. They lost to Denver at home today, so you don't even know where that's. So you just this is the game that makes it really really tough at this point in my scenario. But this would need to happen if we lose to the Cardinals. Then the racists need to lose at home to Seattle, lose to Carolina, and then lose at the Eagles. So, okay, let's move to the little people. They're 5-8 now. They lost at home to Arizona, which was huge today. Okay, so their next ones are the Browns at home next Sunday night. Now, Browns at Giants. I like the Browns. The Browns seem to be on a mission. So they would need to lose though both of these games, home to the Browns and at the Ravens. I like their chances losing at the Ravens. That game will be a must game for Baltimore to stay in the playoff picture. So I really like the Ravens' chances to beat the Giants in this one, and I really do like the Browns to beat the Giants, even in New York this Sunday. And again, this game against Dallas, I'm just assuming the Giants win because the Cowboys are basically going to probably be tanking that game for a draft pick. So I don't want to rely on this game at all. But you give the Giants these 2 losses here, that gets them to 10, and then they're out of the picture. But now we're going to do one other scenario and see how the ripple effect changes everything. So let's just say that the Eagles beat the Cardinals. So if we win, if we beat Arizona, and then again, run the table basically, beat the Cowboys and then beat the racists, which would get us to 7-8-1. So if that happens, if we beat the Cardinals and then run the table, here's what changes. Instead of the racists losing to Seattle and Carolina, they just need to lose once. One of these 2. And I really like their chances to lose to Seattle. So that would then eliminate the need for them to lose to Carolina, which is huge. And again, same idea. The little people would just have to lose one of the next 2, either the Browns or at the Ravens. And I love that scenario because I think they'll definitely lose to the Ravens, and I think they're going to lose to the Browns too anyway. I think the Giants are horrible. Daniel Jones was horrible today. But the key thing is if we can beat Arizona, then we no longer need Carolina to beat the racists. We only need Seattle to beat the racists. So what does this all mean? Well, next week, the Eagles play in Arizona, as you know, in the late afternoon game. So the Seattle racist game is the early game, 1 o'clock in the East, 10 a.m. in the West. So basically the season comes down to this. Seattle has to beat the racists in that early game, or you can kiss it all goodbye. I just don't see a scenario where Carolina then beats the racists after the racists beat Seattle. I just don't see that scenario happening. So, folks, it comes down to 10 a.m. next Sunday, Seahawks at racists. Just put on, drink your safety water, that nonsensical drink that Russell Wilson drinks. Just be the biggest Seattle Seahawks fan you could ever possibly be next Sunday when they play the Racists. Because if Seattle wins, we're going to walk into that Arizona game at kickoff knowing that we basically control our own destiny. We win the next three, we are winning the NFC East. And here, we would still need the Giants to lose to Cleveland or the Ravens. But trust me, that's going to happen. The Giants are going to lose at least one of these two games, if not both of them. So remember, if Seattle beats the Racists, when we take the field in the desert, we will, at least in my opinion, control our own destiny. Win out, and we're in. And we host a playoff game against probably either the Buccaneers and then the loser of the NFC West between the Seahawks and the Rams. And you don't want Seattle. I don't want any part of them at all in the playoffs if we get there. But you give me Tom Brady at the link, you give me Jared Goff at the link in the cold. I'm just saying, Jalen Hurts may have resurrected our season, fam. So stay strong, stay positive. Happy holidays. And we're not done yet, fam. We're not done. If you like what you see here, don't forget, smash that like, smash that subscribe. And happy holidays. Hope you get all your gifts. And the biggest gift that we want this weekend, fam, Seattle to beat the Racists in D.C. And hopefully then we can beat the Cardinals in the House of Horrors in Arizona, where there have been way too many torturous Eagles losses through the years. And hey, we made up a loss that we kept losing to the Saints so many times. We finally beat them today, exorcised those demons, and maybe we can exorcise some demons in Arizona next Sunday. So I'll talk to you at that point, and have a great week, and stay strong, everybody.